Yeah, good practice today. Told the team, this game is strictly coming down to who wants it worse, desire and motivation, because desire and motivation affect preparation, performance, execution, energy level, and what's Coastal playing for? Coastal's playing, they want to play the championship game at home, and they think they have a shot at New Year's Six ball. Okay. What are we playing for? We're playing for, number one, would be champions of the Sun Belt East from a statistical standpoint, head to head. All right. King of the East, whatever you want to call it. That'll be very important to these guys when they're 25, 30, 35, 40, 50. That'll be extremely important to our players. And that's our motivation. We're used to winning championships here. In theory, we cannot be called the champion. We're playing the championship game. That means nothing to us right now. So thought we had a good day today, need to have a great day tomorrow.
All right. Just a reminder to please use the hand raise function. If you have a question for Coach, we'll start off with Dave Riggert.
Let's just talk about Coastal and what you see on film. Obviously 9-1, very talented team. What do you see right now on film with these guys?
Yeah, 9-1, 31-4 over the last 3 years. Obviously, the quarterback's out. I think he's been playing injured a good bit of the year. Gutted it out. He's a tough guy, really good player. Their offense is different than what you normally see. And, it's been an edge for them. A lot of different personnel groupings, formations, 3 to 5 different types of options, belly G from many different presentations, split zone, different ways to get the ball on the perimeter, and great play action passes off of that stuff that when you overcommit to the run, all of a sudden there's a tight end running down the middle against middle open defense, wide open, or running back down the rail or what have you. So, their running backs, I'm very, very impressed with. They run really hard. They play 4 different guys. They're downhill guys, and they're fast. They're athletic. They can all catch the ball. The receiving core is really good. The kid from Georgia State, has the most receptions. He's a tall guy, vertical guy. They like to throw the up and down ball against press to him, 14 and 5, all the other ones, 8. The line functions really well. They've all been in that system for a while. They're a little bit young, but they're good. On defense, the front is salty. One of the better fronts we've seen for sure. Nose guard's 340 pounds. His backup's a really good player. Boundary end, we'll call him the Buck. Zero is he's a big time player. And his backup's really good. 99 is a really good player, and they got back in the filled in, and they got quality backups. Boundary corner's got a lot of accolades. Who plays the field occasionally from North Carolina. I remember him from Elon. He's got size, about 6'2", 205. And special teams, they led the country last year in block punts. But so there's a reason they're 9-1. They have been in a lot of close games, but they win them. They know how to win. So we got to play really well. We got to play physical, and we got to do great defensive challenge on our side of the ball to be able to slow these guys down and play good defense. Offensively, we need a good game from our offense. We got to have great balance, and we need to execute.
Coach, obviously being the last game and so many great seniors, a lot of guys have been around. They some were here when you got here. You've recruited some to come here, but can you talk about what this senior class means to you? I know that they all mean a lot to you, but I'm sure this one's pretty special to you too.
Well, and I think after the game's over, it's a great time to reflect on that. But because I don't want to get too sentimental here, and ask them not to either, and to focus in on the main thing this week. But every senior class is special because the investment and commitment that all these student athletes make in this sport is very significant. And this particular senior class, you've got guys that came here out of high school, won a lot of games, won a lot of championships. You got guys that have broken records, high on rushing record, receiving, touchdowns. You just got a lot of guys that have done special things here. But more importantly, quality people. guys that excel on the field in the classroom, contribute their time to other causes, represent the program the way you want it represented. It's one of the things I'm really proud of since I've been here in 4 years. Is the way the guys represent themselves on the field and off the field. So in this senior class, there's 16 of them. They'll be recognized on senior day. A couple of them have an option to come back for another year. So they want their senior day to be special, and the best way to do that is don't think about it being your last game. Just prepare as well as you can, play as well as you can in your last game, and you'll remember it forever.
All right, we'll go to David Teal from Richmond Times-Dispatch.
Curt, what have been the most challenging aspects of the weekly FBS grind as compared to playing an FBS once a year? And have there been any aspects of it that have surprised you?
Well, having coached so long, now obviously being a head coach with this move, it's our first time doing this. I've been with a number of teams that every game you had to play really, really well to have a chance to win. And that's the situation we're in here. I think a lot of the challenges were very similar to the challenges at any level, that the more success you have, you got to be on the lookout for complacency and make sure the standards are kept high, because they slip very subtly and they slip in all areas. And when we were 5-0, ranked in the top 25, did we have our edge going into that game, or did we just think that we would win? And then as we started to accumulate injuries, that was a challenge at one point, just because we haven't had those years to recruit at 85. We played most of the year at about 77. But fortunately, we've gotten some guys back. We got some guys back that some people thought would be out for the season that are back and started and played the whole game. At the end of the day, it's football, and responding to challenges, managing your team, trying to make them the best you can be. And honestly, it hadn't been that much different if you really want to know the truth.
And then you mentioned that Coastal knows how to win. The comebacks against Appalachian State and Georgia State that you guys had would indicate that your program and your team knows how to win. Is that something that you too have observed?
Well, I'd say we know how to come back from a deficit. I think everybody knows we know how to win. I mean, you don't win championships year in, year out like we do, 47-3 at home, unless you know how to win at any level. Winning's a mindset. And so what I think the team learned how to do this year was come back from a deficit and keep their poise.
All right, we'll go over to Noah Fleischman from the DNR.
Hey, Coach, what would you say, what does a guy like Percy mean to the overall program, kind of like what he's been able to do during his 6 years at JMU?
Well, I think when you look at Percy, look at how he represents the program. First of all, he's got class. Obviously, he's a really good player. But we have a lot of guys, that I could say the same thing about. The thing about Percy is I've never once had to question whether he'd practice hard, whether he'd play hard, whether he'd be prepared, whether he'd do the right thing on the field. Because he loves ball, and he's totally committed to being the best he can be. So he's been a joy to coach. He's got a great personality. Never had an issue with him. Got really nice parents. We'll miss Percy, not because of the production. We'll just miss Percy because of the person.
And then how impressive has it been for Chris Thornton to come in and be 2 touchdowns away from the receiving record and only really play 2.5 seasons at JMU?
Well, I don't know how, your question was how important is it? I think that tells you what kind of player he's been the 2.5 seasons he's been here. that, he's a guy that can separate and make big plays and is really fast and been a really, really good player. And once again, just like Percy, there's a reason for that, because he shows up for practice every day and busts his butt, gives great effort. He's always prepared. And, every single day you get a great effort from KT, just like Percy. There's no ups and downs. You know what you're getting. You're getting a very high standard from those two guys.
Thank you.
We'll go over to Grant Johnson from the Breeze.
Hey, Coach, seeing these seniors this week, playing their last game, have you ever seen a senior class through their career go through so much when you talk about COVID a few years ago, and then the last 2 years really kind of, transitioning with this whole from the CAA over to the Sun Belt? Have you really seen a senior class go through as much as this one did in their careers?
Probably not. I guess you could probably say there's, senior classes that have gone through a lot that have had 2 or 3 coaching changes during their career, which does happen in college football. But, COVID was something that every school in the country had to deal with at the FCS level. You had to deal with it in terms of your fall season being canceled. And then you played a spring season where social distancing was such that you'd take 8 buses to away games so that you could maintain your social distancing. You had guys wearing trackers on their wrist to monitor close contacts with everybody else on the team. That was different. That was really different. And then you had this transition, which, this transition, I think for everybody was exciting, was a challenge that everybody stepped up and met because we knew it was a challenge we were ready for.
And you've talked a lot about how, this year for you guys has been unprecedented with playing that, full FBS schedule in the first year. Kind of before the year started, if you were to look back and, say that you guys either went, 7-4 or 8-3, in your first year in the FBS, what would you kind of say to yourself, back in August, if you knew this was going to be the result of the first year?
I'd probably said, what the hell did I do to lose those other 2? Nobody knew what to expect because we had never lined up and played these teams before, and we had a lot of new faces and key roles. But I think we knew after Middle Tennessee that, that we could. We knew we could line up with them, and play with them, and beat them. But we dominated that team. And then you go down to App State, who pretty much wins the East year in, year out, in front of a sellout, and they're coming off a win against Texas A&M, and you beat them. And then you completely dominate Texas State at home. And then you go on the road and beat Arkansas State by 3 or 4 touchdowns. And then, I didn't do a good job of probably being a bad guy during the week of Georgia Southern, and keeping everybody on their toes. I tried, but I didn't do a good enough job.
Well, we'll finish off with Dave Riggert.
Coach, you became a grandfather this week. That kind of lit you up right there, but how special was that?
It was great. It was awesome. It happened at 1:18 last night. My wife and I were asleep. We had not heard from him for a while. So my wife started to panic, and about 10 minutes later, we got the text, and I had a 7 a.m. staff meeting scheduled for the morning. And I'll have to admit to, my alarm didn't go off. You hear that one all the time. Well, I forgot to set mine. So I woke up just a little bit before 7. And honestly, I had to go downstairs and kind of just sit in my chair and reminisce because, there was like a special feeling about being a grandfather. It really was. And, I texted all the coaches would start at 8:15 because I just sort of had to take it in for a little bit. And then came in, and I felt like halftime at Georgia State, like I was really behind on the day. And, took the cigars into the guys and all that, and we had a good day.
Explore the great outdoors with the all-new Charlie Oball RV and Outdoor Superstore. You've got to see it to believe it. Come shop our mega showroom located off I-81 and I-64 in Stanton. Hundreds of new and pre-owned campers of all sizes in stock and ready for making memory. New campers like the Keystone Hideout starting as low as $175 per month. It's the only store you need to visit for the latest deals on fishing, hunting, electric golf carts, electric bikes, and all the best outdoor apparel. Visit CharlieOballRV.com or stop by and start camping. And God bless America.
Hello, Queen City. Headed to Charlotte? SHD can take you there and beyond. Our new airline partnership will enable Valley travelers to make seamless connections beyond Charlotte on American Airlines, along with smooth baggage transfers to your final destination. With the highest level of customer service, plus all other seating and expanded legroom in every row, you're in for VIP travel experience with Contour Airlines. Visit ContourAirlines.com to book your next flight and experience the SHD difference.